Hey everyone, so this is Tim Higgins. So I'm going to do a quick video because I ran into some issues trying to find documentations on how to publish a generated data set to the portal. So I'm just going to do a quick video to show how I got it working. That way everyone can obviously use this as training and move forward. So first thing I'm going to do is open up Data Maker, GT Data Maker. Now I'm using my local, just the good old AdventureWorks database. I'm going to log in with my top secret password that probably everybody uses. And I'm just connecting to AdventureWorks. Now, I normally use JetBrains for my data connection, but I'm going to use SQL. Well, the truth is, I may not even go into that in this video. So I'm going to make this video very simple. What I was going to do is getting to actually using data generation, but I'll do another video for that. Like I said, I want to make this simple and to the point. So what we can do is create a new project. We can call it AdventureWorks, right? To AdventureWorks employees. So let's have a focus, right? Employees to portal. All right. Now, what I do with the project is I don't like using data groups, so we're going to get rid of this data group. And I'm using SQL Server, which is good. I want my default publish right now just be a CSV, mainly just because I don't want to publish back to my AdventureWorks, and I haven't created a blank schema. And then we'll give it a version. So we'll call this employees. Okay. And we'll save this. Of course, it's going to want to create the project. Now, the next step we're going to do, again, I'm not going to get details of projects or how this works. I'll do separate videos if anybody wants those. But what we're going to do is create a new data set. We're going to call it employees. Oops, I'm sorry. I like to go ahead, just because this is a demo, add the word data set on there so you can see it whenever I move it throughout the project. Make sure these two are checked. I'm not 100% sure if they're still needed on the employees. One of the ways I did this, so I had a hard time finding documentation on doing this for the latest portal. So what I did was I went back to my mindset of using TDOT, which is the old version of Test Data on Demand. So I'm not sure if you still need those checked for the data set, but we can use it anyway. So employees is going to be a data pool, okay? And we're going to leave everything normal. Now we'll come back and talk about this later, but right now we're going to leave it normal. We're going to create it. Now, what I'm going to do is I need to bring some data over. So we're just going to do this real quick. I'm going to go to the version. I'm going to register my data set, and I should see my DBOs. Now, the one thing about DBO is usually the default namespace for SQL, but because they use namespaces here, like human resources dot, TDM was pretty good about separating that. So what we need to do is actually we're going to go into human resources and we're going to get an employee here. Oops, I'm sorry. I just want to register the employee. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and add that one. Of course I can recalculate. There's only one. And that's all I need to do. So now I have my employees registered, which is basically getting the schema. But now I can go in here and I can say, let's edit this data pool. Now, what I'm going to do is create it manually because we're only generating data. Now, I'm going to leave this very simple, very to the point. So what I mean is I'm not going to figure out what makes this best. Like I said, I'll do another video for that just because I want this one to be quick and only about publishing. So, yeah, it's fine. Login, I think, has to be a user. Job title, we'll just call it title, it's fine. We'll call it VP. Birthday, so the data painter does have some really cool stuff to do with dates. So we can say, I want the birthday to be a birthday. I want the range to be, you gotta be 21 to drink. And I think if you're drinking at 88, you're probably too old, but maybe not. And then we're gonna make the date just based off the published date. That's fine. Okay, marital status, we'll say I'm married. I'm a male, and hire date, we'll just call it C date, which is fine. Okay, I do know though, if I go over here to this row GUID, it is a GUID ID. So luckily I can go into code, and we do have code for that. Okay, if I use just a generic number, it errors out. Okay, so now we're going to save this. Now that created just a basic, I can look at it, it created just basic data for data generation. Now we've got to go prep our project. I'm gonna hit refresh, just get it clean, for Agile Designer. So I found out that I can go higher in the, like you use the data set, not just the data pool, but go up higher, but you have to set it to, so let's do data set properties. And I'm going to set it to use for Agile Designer. Now, another thing we need to is a default publish. So let's go ahead and save this. I probably should have published it before I did this, but that's fine. And what I want to do is I want to create a variable, and I want this variable to be just, and you see I have one there, but what I'm going to do, I don't truly know. We'll make it project level. And I'm going to call this publish rows. Well, let's call it employees. Number of employees. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it numeric. And I want a default value of 10. Let's say you can't do more than just 10. Okay. There's a display only, but I'm not going to pick that because we need to use it when we publish as well. Now, these we probably need to resolve prior to publish, but I think we can just leave it as default, and you'll see why I say that. When I go to publish, I'm going to publish two different ways. So we're going to publish to our file. Okay, whoops, not target, file. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this to be my variable that I pass in. In this case, we're just going to use this one. It's project level. Save. Oops. Save. And what I'm going to do is I want to set that. Even though it's at 10, I'm going to go ahead and set it to 15. Okay, I'm going to save here because I changed the value. And then what we're going to do is we're going to publish. Okay. I'm going to keep my dupes because I hard-coded. That's fine. We're not really testing our data here. We're just creating, I should have 15 employees. Yep. Oh, well, I'm sorry. It would be 10, and then I changed it to 15. So let's go ahead and close this. But the point is, I have employees, right? So now let's just double check. What we've got to do now is go and make that our default publish. Now, the rule to the variables is you have to use a variable on your default publish, and that's why I did that. Now, sometimes I had the variable show up, sometimes I didn't. So I haven't worked that one out fully, but we'll see. Maybe I just fixed it. So let's go to our properties. You have to go to default. That never was checked. That's why I need to check now. But what we've got to do now, we can see our publish, right? So I've got 15 employees, and that is now our default publish. But I want to give it a name. So publish employees. Okay. And we're going to, we can have a whole bunch of these, and sometimes it's good because this one I had set to 15, even though it gave me 30. I had to figure out why, but don't really care. That's probably a simple answer that I'm just not thinking or care about at this moment. So what we're going to do now is that's set. So now we're going to go to Agile Designer. Give it a second to open. And while it is, okay, so it's open. I was going to say while it's opening, I'm going to go ahead and open the portal.